Melody Sky Eisler, Director of the Port Townsend Library Online Design Clinic, June 11th, 2020. Could you help me?
Could you please help me think about how a city library can engage in robust community engagement in the era of COVID-19 when people don't either can't gather or they don't feel safe to gather and also might have tech fatigue. So Zoom meetings might not be the ideal place either. Port Townsend, we're a community of about 9,500 people. We're a city library. We had just in March had our first little community meeting to do a strategic plan for the library. Libraries, of course, what we love about libraries is we want to provide equitable access to everyone in our community. We know that not everyone uses our library, so a big part of this strategic planning process was to engage in robust community engagement with people who didn't use the library. So now it seems even more challenging of how we are going to reach out to everyone in our community.
Share more about.
Hi, Melody. I'd love to know who your library system is serving primarily right now in your community.
We serve primarily older, affluent retirees in Port Townsend, but we do have a lot of young families that we've been reaching out to serve more in our community, and we have a growing immigrant population that we would love to engage more in Port Townsend.
Just to elaborate on that a little bit, when you say a growing immigrant community, are there specific demographics there that you've been able to observe?
Spanish speaking and Vietnamese speaking.
Can you say more about how you invite people into the library right now?
Pre-COVID-19, we were inviting people into the library. Right now, our building is closed, unfortunately, but we were definitely doing a lot of work for community engagement in terms of working very closely in a collaboration with our amazing school district, making sure that young families knew about us, going to different groups in the community and not expecting everyone to come into our beautiful old Carnegie building, but making sure we were taking the library to the community.
So Melody, can you tell me more about the resources you have available to do community outreach?
First is right now, most of our staff are furloughed and we won't be getting them back until July 1st. But we do have Burke Consulting, a wonderful firm in Seattle that we've hired to help us do the strategic plan and to think about community engagement. And we did begin with a survey right at the beginning of March, asking people about what they had for their vision for the library. And we had about 100 responses before everything shut down.
This is Josie. Can you tell me more about a specific audience that you're trying to reach?
Right now, I think reaching out to our young families in the community is critical, and making sure that they know that they have a voice and a place in the library, and also starting to identify more of our immigrant community and helping them to know that the library is for them. We're located in Uptown, which is one of the most affluent parts of the community. So we know that there's a lot of people in Port Townsend that don't come to Uptown. And that's why we've worked so closely with the school, which is located in an area where there's more young families.
Can you tell me more about what effective community engagement would look like under normal circumstances?
What we were planning to do, Brian, that's a great question, is have a couple of big community meetings, maybe like a town hall, maybe an ice cream social in the park. Those were some of our fun ideas that we were looking at. And then we were going to do little like crucial conversations throughout the community where we would ask to meet with different small groups, and I was going to lead conversations about what people's aspirations were for the community.
Can you say a little bit more about what are some of the unintended positive things that have come out of COVID for you guys in terms of how you're serving communities? Has there been any positive things?
I love that question. Yes, there definitely has been. We were able to transition to totally offering virtual services, providing phone and email reference, upping the offerings we had for ebooks, databases, streaming movies, e-magazines, and we were able to provide people the ability for the first time to apply for library cards online. So we have had a few people a day since this began getting library cards. So new people are joining every day if they have access to technology.
Can you share more about the connectivity ability for your community?
Well, we've been working hard to increase that. We turned our Wi-Fi on at our library 24/7. We have wonderful documents that the school district created to show where all the Wi-Fi hotspots are. Our PUD has been working to increase that, but we still know that there are challenges that, especially for young families in school, that not everybody has the privilege to be able to drive to a space and sit in a parking lot and use Wi-Fi. So we're in the process right now of seeing if we can get more hotspots out into the community and circulate those for the first time.
Can you share more about any other community partners you're working with on this outreach?
Yeah, we have been working really closely with some other partners that we have MOUs with, different arts organizations in town. Port Townsend is known as an arts community, so we've been working with some art galleries and art schools to help get the word out about what we're doing for the strategic planning process.
Can you share more about how you've tried to reach folks who are not connected online, like mail outs or radio, any kind of efforts to reach the folks who may not be connected?
We haven't done anything like that yet, and that's what we've been talking about with our consultant. We're looking at potentially doing a radio show. We have KPTZ, which is an amazing public radio station in Port Townsend. We're looking at doing mailings. We're looking at calling people and doing just a reach out to ask people how they're doing and letting them know what we offer, and then seeing what they need right now for recovery and what they'd like to see in the future for the library. Because it's like a little cart before the horse. How do we help with recovery? And then how do we envision our future?
Participants were asked to contribute their ideas for the This Makes Me Think Of section of the Design Clinic in small breakout groups. You might try.
You might try connecting with the school district and working with them to ensure every student has a library card, maybe a special student card with different rules with less barriers.
You might try reaching out to faith-based communities or cultural communities to reach some of your immigrant populations.
You might try reaching out through a volunteer platform like GivePulse or through your local universities and higher ed places to find their civic engagement groups that have volunteers that can help.
Might try, since we talked about marketing in our breakout group, a series of multiple translated mailers that are explaining simply to people how to access library services online, since you have such a population of older folks who may have not accessed resources like that or understood that they could access resources like that. Maybe some ongoing spotlights on this is how you can use subscription services that the library might be offering to inform people about how they can access those things.
You might try to connect with Kitsap Immigration Assistance Center because they work with immigrants, especially Vietnamese and Guatemalan, that are working all throughout the Olympic Peninsula. I also think like any sort of like social justice coalitions or networks in the Port Townsend area, as well as like your Work First LPA partners that support services for people who are economically disadvantaged.
You might try to possibly establish tiny libraries in various different neighborhoods that are accessible, walkable, and safe for the dissemination of materials and programming, but also DVDs and hard copy books, family games, etc.
You might try something similar to Travis's Learning Together Today format that invites people to share different ways that they engage with the library or other kind of library themed prompts.
You might try connecting with your Play and Learns or your early childhood education classes that are still meeting right now or will meet in your schools.
One thing you could try is responding to potentially like things that are immediate needs for communities right now. That might be unemployment, it might be different things like that. And so using the library's connection with other nonprofits and other folks to bring those type of resources to people through, whether it's like written or with the radio or whatever, but responding to families' immediate needs. I think it would make folks more attracted to using the library now and potentially also in the future.
You may also try connecting with agencies or organizations where people who may not have technology to connect to the library online may interface with the community. So maybe grocery stores or other organizations that are supporting social needs.
You might also try reaching out to Reforma Washington if you haven't already. A group of librarians across the state sharing information about how they serve the Spanish-speaking populations in their areas.
You might also apply for one of our outreach for COVID-19 response grants, available now.
You might try for the library to be the Zoom meeting host for various organizations in the community.
Melody, you might try making our little free libraries in the city more of a kiosk type idea, like the old-fashioned community bulletin board, where it has a physical presence to communicate.
You might try a weekly story time on Zoom at a certain time for young families, possibly in other languages, so parents can have a time for a break and kids can enjoy it.
Perhaps reaching out to the business community and see who, you know, the businesses there, and maybe you have some business databases. People might be wanting to start up small businesses if they get the small business grants through the COVID-19 relief or whatnot. So just kind of seeing how you can, you know, be involved with getting businesses to talk to other businesses or people who are interested in that, especially once things get going again.
You might try determining what is the highest level of success. That would be your best. Then your next level down would be better. And then, you know, what is the minimum level of success that you'd like to have in terms of reaching communities? And that would be your good. And then thinking about how you might, you know, as the year changes, depending on what happens during the course of the year, if things open up more, how you might transfer from good to better, from better to best, what have you.
What struck me?
Everybody's just incredible, thoughtful ideas. Thank you. It's really inspiring. When I was in the breakout session, one of the things we were talking about is this isn't just a question for libraries. I think everybody is engaging in what it means to do community engagement. Every organization in some way is looking at this. So I hope that this inspires all of us to be turning outward more, to reach out to our community. And I'm so appreciative of all the incredible ideas. My head is swimming with all the wonderful things that we could look at potentially implementing. So thank you. I have so much gratitude to you all for spending your time today sharing and helping me learn and grow.
Visit www.cefellows.org to learn more and to contribute your ideas.